So my AI had a blind spot, and it was the database. Every time something didn't work, it was pointing to the database and saying, the problem must be somewhere with that data. And each time I was copying SQL statements from one place to another, copying the results back to the AI. I was the connection between both of those, and I was the friction point here. So I thought that is inefficient, and that led me to the process to remove myself and have the AI handle the rest. Because in this case, the database was the blind spot. The blind spot it could point to when something wasn't working, or even didn't have access to when stuff is working. So what did I do? I gave it a set of eyes. Right now, it can look inside the database, it's a read-only connection, and see what is in there. So I don't have to copy specific things anymore, and I can step back from that process. This way, it can see the data, but it cannot touch it. And this goes for the production database. I also have a staging database, and there it just has full access. So it can read, it can update, it can write, and it can delete. Now, you can also do that on production. This is an area where it gets a little bit more risky. So if you're going to do that, be cautious of the consequences. One of the reasons it helped me was looking at the database data, and based upon what is in there, it would improve the front end by itself because it noticed a lot of patterns between the data that the users generate, and these patterns weren't visible yet in the front end. So it actually created that in the front end to give a better experience. That's something that I couldn't do myself because the AI saw this was a possibility and it improved upon itself. And of course, with me doing the checks before the execution, so like the human in the loop, so right now it can see everything. There's no more black box. There's no more guesses. There's no more pointing to the database and saying, the issue must be there. There's something wrong with the data. No, now it can finally see what is there and it can check off that box that it might be a potential issue or a potential bug. Of course, this is just a database. I try to give AI access to as much as possible. For example, the logs about what actions are taken where, for the database, but also for like specific functions that are running. All those logs it already has access to. So this database access is just complementary based on what is already there, based on all the logs. So now it can see all the steps and you can see the data. And those two combined creates a complete image that you cannot reproduce with you being stuck between that SD connection. So what is the lesson here? It's actually more tools, better answers. Because the more context you give to the AI, and you can use the tools to do that, the better the answers you get, or the less in the middle you have to be. Now, of course, this comes with a risk. It's always a trade-off because if it has access to more data, it has access to more data, which it can use for good and for bad stuff. Now, up to you to have the guardrails in place so that the bad stuff doesn't happen. So let me know what you think of this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next one.